There was a very wealthy family in the city. They had only one son, named Zayan. The family owned big businesses, cars, and huge houses, everything people usually dream about. But inside, Zayan was empty. He had many friends, yet he always felt that people liked his money more than his personality. Whenever he entered a room, he wondered, if I had nothing, would anyone here still sit with me? On the other side of the same city, in a small, crowded neighborhood, lived a girl named Hira. She taught children in a small religious school in the morning, worked part-time at a tiny coaching center in the evening, and helped her sick mother at night. Her dreams were not about branded clothes or foreign trips. She only wanted three things: that her home could run with dignity, that her mother could get proper treatment, and that if she ever married, it would be to a man with real faith and good character. One day, Zayan's driver fell sick. For the first time in a long while, Zayan had to drive himself. He took a different route through an older part of the city. At one traffic signal, he stopped and looked around. He noticed a group of children sitting on the footpath, books in their hands. In front of them, a young woman was explaining something with full attention and warmth. This was Hira. Through the open car window, Zayan heard her say to the children, "Poverty is not a crime. Real poverty is when a person has no manners, no gratitude, and no faith." Those words hit Zayan deeply. He thought, I am rich with money, but am I also rich in the heart? For a few days, he took the same route again and again. He parked at a distance and watched. He saw how Hira sat with the children, sometimes fixing their worn-out shoes, sometimes sharing her own bread with them. There was fatigue in her eyes, but there was light in her words. One day, Zayan made a decision. He left his luxury car at home, wore simple clothes, took an old motorbike from the house, and rented a very small room in that poor area for a few weeks. He did not use his real name. He introduced himself as Z, a normal guy looking for small work. Through a contact, he got a small helper's role near Hira's coaching center, checking notebooks, cleaning the board, helping a bit with English sentences. At first, Hira hardly noticed him. For her, he was just another helper. But slowly, she saw something different. Z spoke to the children respectfully, listened to them carefully, and never shouted. One day, a child fell down and another child laughed. Z gently said, "Today you're laughing at someone's fall. Tomorrow you might be the one who falls. So don't laugh at a person. Feel mercy for their difficulty." Hira heard this and silently agreed in her heart. This boy is not ordinary, she thought. Over the next few weeks, Zayan truly tasted the life of the poor. Saving every drop of water, valuing every piece of bread, trying to sleep without a fan in the heat when electricity went out, standing in crowded buses, worrying about rent every month. Sometimes at night, sitting alone in his tiny room, he thought, these are Hira's everyday realities. Yet she comes out every morning with a smile. For the first time, he really understood that money is not a guarantee of peace. Gratitude, faith, and hard work make a person strong from inside. One evening, after class, it began to rain heavily. The children went home one by one, leaving only Hira and Z in the small room. Water was leaking from the roof, a bucket sat on the floor to catch the drops. Hira laughed softly and said, "Look, even our little center cries with the rain." Z asked, "You live with so many problems, why do you still smile so much?" Hira answered simply, "Because if I start crying all the time, what will these children learn from me? Life tests everyone. I want them to see that a person with faith does not break in hardship, they become stronger." Her answer shook Zayan inside. He realized how weak his own standards had been. For him, an ideal girl used to mean modern, stylish, suitable for parties and events. Now he felt that true beauty was sitting right here, in this tiny, leaking room, with ink on her hands and hope in her eyes. With time, respect and quiet friendship grew between Hira and Z. Hira liked his simplicity and kindness, Z admired her faith and courage. But there was a line Zayan never crossed. He knew that a relationship built on lies would never be pure. If he ever wanted to truly ask for her hand, he would have to stand in front of her as his real self, not as a fake poor boy. As the months passed, Zayan started using his family's money differently. Without taking credit, he funded small projects in that area, free books for children, basic medical help, small repairs for the school. He was no longer interested in impressing anyone with luxury. He had seen how a little money, when used in the right place, could change lives. For the first time, his wealth began to feel meaningful. Finally, the day came when he decided that the truth could not be delayed anymore. He disappeared from the center for a few days. Hira noticed his absence and felt a quiet emptiness, but she had no way to reach him. She simply prayed, "O God, wherever he is, give him goodness." One afternoon, as class was about to end, a simple white car stopped outside the center. A familiar face stepped out, dressed neatly but not showy, eyes full of nervous honesty. Hira needed a moment, but then she recognized him. It was Z, and yet someone else too. Zayan walked in and spoke directly, "I owe you an apology. My name is not Z, it's Zayan. I'm not from a poor background. I come from a wealthy family. But I needed to understand your world. I needed to see life from your side. I wanted to know if I was capable of being accepted not for my money, but for my character." Hira was shocked. There was pain because he had lied, but his eyes held no mockery or arrogance, only regret. Quietly, she asked, "Why did you do all of this?" Zayan answered, "Because if I had walked in the first day with my car, my watch, my last name, you might have put me in the same category as all the other rich boys. I needed to prove to myself, and to you, that I respect your struggles, that I can carry some of that weight with you. I want a bond with your heart, not your poverty. I want to stand beside you with truth, not stand above you with money." Hira listened silently. For a moment, the only sound in the room was the fan. Then she said, "I'm not upset because you are rich. I'm hurt because you did not trust me enough to show me your real self from the beginning. If you had introduced yourself honestly but with sincere intentions, I still would have seen you as a human being first. But I can also see that your decision to live here, to feel this life, came from a real place in your heart." Then she placed a clear condition. "If you ever come to ask for my hand, do it openly, with your family, and with complete honesty. I don't want your money. I only need to know that your heart, like mine, trusts God and respects people." A few weeks later, Zayan's father came to Hira's small home. At first, he could not understand why his son wanted to marry a girl from such a different background. But as he watched Hira teaching the children, saw the way she spoke to her mother, and heard the neighbors' respect for her, his view began to change. Hira did not act or pretend, she simply continued being who she always was. After the meeting, Zayan's father told his son, "This is the first time you have made a decision that rises above money and status. Maybe this is the greatest wealth we have." The families agreed to the marriage, with one important condition: Hira would not stop teaching, and together they would build a proper education center for poor children. On the wedding day, people talked as people always do. Some said, "Look at the poor girl's luck." Others said, "The rich boy has gone crazy." But Hira was beyond all of that. For her, the real honor was that Zayan saw her true worth, not her poverty. For Zayan, the real victory was that he had finally learned to see beyond wealth, to see a person's heart. Today, they run the Noor Education Center together, a place that offers free tuition, scholarships, and guidance for children who cannot afford much. People say, "The rich boy is doing good work." But the truth is something else. It was a poor girl's faith and strength that made the rich boy truly rich, from the inside. The message of this story is simple. To win the love of someone poor, you do not need to act poor. You need to understand their life, respect their dignity, and stand with them in truth. A real relationship is built when money and status move to the side, and both hearts stand on one foundation, humanity and faith.